Okay, Radhe Radhe. So the verse that he quotes now, he just quotes that Swechhamayasya. So it's sometimes hard for us to know how to deal. Of course, to deal with a verse like this where he comes and says Swechhamayasya. So Swechhamayasya is a word that comes in the Brahma Lila, the Brahma Stava, 14th chapter. So in the 14th chapter, the Brahma is praying to Krishna, a little Krishna standing there with butter in his hand, right? And Brahma has just seen this particular lila, right, of Krishna taking on the forms of Narayan, and of also seeing other Brahmas come and offer their homage to these Narayanas, who are simply really parts, expansions of Krishna. And he saw that all the cows and the cowherd boys, that they are also taking on Krishna forms. He sees none of it, it's all Krishnamaya. So there's been a great blessing that Krishna has given Brahma. In a sense, he's allowed him, just now we were talking about coming into the inner realm. In a sense, he has, because he's allowed Brahma to enter into Vrindavan. So Brahma, what Brahma has seen, and what Brahma has learned from this episode, yeah, this has given him the right to enter into Krishna Lila and to actually see, to play a role again in Krishna Lila, but also to genuinely learn something from it. If you were to play the role, let's say, in Shakespeare, or into, let's say, we were talking about Othello. So Shakespeare is a great explicator, a great descriptor of the human condition, of human psychology, of motivation. That's what made him great. His characters are, very memorable. They become part of the understanding of the English language. What it means to be Lady Macbeth, for instance, or Hamlet, or Richard III. All these personalities that he created, or who resembled genuine personalities, real human beings in real conditions of life, facing real existential problems, facing the difficulties of sin, and so on. So now if you play the role of one of these heroes, let's say, you play the role of one of these personalities, then one has to study the role, one has to study the play, one has to study the author, one has to understand the meaning of what he's doing. He has to find value in it, he has to find meaning in it. And sometimes that meaning could be difficult. Could be saying something quite, and sometimes it might be saying something quite superficial and false. Many different things that could happen in terms of the real worldly roles that we play. So anyhow, Brahma, he gets to be a part of the Leela, Vrindavan Leela. He gets to come to Vrindavan and see Krishna in the form of a cowherd boy. So he says, Asyapi deva vapusho madanugrahaya. Remember, he's just finished his prayer. No mirya deva vapusha. First he's praising Krishna's form. He's there as a cowherd boy. He's holding in his hands, he's holding the food. He looks exactly as he had a year before, playing with the cowherd boys. Lord Brahma has come and he's come before him, and Krishna really doesn't care. After 1 year, he was reunited with the other cowherd boys, and he has to tend to Brahma, who is all contritional. He's all penitential. Oh, look what I've done. But at the same time, he's giving the greatest blessing to Brahma. He's giving him his own. He's allowing Brahma to come and stand before him, to actually see him. And this time, not in the form of Narayan, but in the form of Satchidananda Swarupa Gopala Balaka, that he is the cowherd boy. And he's standing there in simple clothes, smeared with colors from the forest floor, from the mountain side, with flowers picked up off the ground, with the peacock feather just found lying on the ground. This is the way decorated. They have beads made from gunja berries, and flower garlands. Sometimes they even have flower garlands. So this is the way Krishna is appearing before Brahma. So this form in Vrindavan as a child, Gopala Bala, this is something that is on a very high level of mercy that you could see even from the point of view of Brahma, who is the world creator, who doesn't lose his identity. He has to actually pray later on in his prayers. Yeah? He prays to take birth in Vrindavan. Kimapi gulmalato shatina. Just let me be born in Vrindavan, so that I can be trampled on by the Vrajavasis. That the dust of their feet will fall upon me. And that's what I pray. That from his glorious position as Brahma, his situation as being all-knowing, as being the supreme power in the universe, the very pinnacle of what is possible for the jiva to achieve. He is praying for something that looks like a demotion. People who are in a position of power, they don't usually like to give it up. But here Lord Brahma was coming and getting a foretaste, you could say, of a better way of living than to exercise power over the entire universe. That this simplicity of the cowherd boy in Vrindavan, this playing a Leela of pure love, of simplicity, of community affection, centered on the recognition of the divine as being present in living color. So Brahma gets to see that. He at least gets to see it as an ideal. From his position, from his elevated position, he gets to see the revelation comes to him that this is really a higher state of consciousness. That there's a higher state of consciousness involved here than the one that I have attained by becoming Brahma. But don't minimize Brahma. He's a very elevated individual, a very elevated soul. But he's not a Brajavasi. He has to pray to become a Brajavasi. Asyapi deva vapusho madanugrahaya swechhamayasya natu bhutamayasya kopi neshe mahi tvavasitum manasantarena sakshat tavaiva kimutatva sukhanubhutehe. Asyapi deva vapusho madanugrahaya swechhamayasya natu bhutamayasya kopi neshe mahi tvavasitum manasantarena sakshat tavaiva kimutatma sakhanubhutehe. Okay, asyapi deva vapusha mad anugrahaya swechhamayasya natu bhutamayasya kopi neshe mahi tvavasitum manasantarena sakshat tatavaiva kimutatma sukhanubhute. So he's talking asyapi vapusha. So vapuha means body. So sakshat tavaiva vapusha, asyapi deva vapusha. So this body of yours, this body that I'm seeing here in front of me, the cowherd form, mad anugrahaya, is to give mercy upon me. Swechhamayasya, this body, furthermore, is swechamaya. It's self-created. It's coming out of your own will. You have chosen it. You're Narayan. You are Brahma. You are the all-pervading Paramatma. You are Vishnu. You are Narayan. You are Bhagavan Swayam. And yet you choose to play the role of a child. A powerless child, a dependent child. A child who has not a care in the world. Or a child who is completely free to roam and to play with his friends all day, with calves and cows, with nature, with the beautiful forest, with the occasional danger, to keep life spirited. With all kinds of possibilities for beautiful exchanges of love, where the interferences of other purposes does not interfere. The world of divine love. So here, Brahma goes on. Nabhutu bhutamayasya, this is not material thing. Your body is not created of the 5 material elements. I'm not thinking like that. Okay, that's not, he's got, it says, your mahi, neshe mahi tvavasitum manasantarena. I'm not able to understand through the use of my own mind, through the use of my own heart, through the use of my own capacities, my inner capacities. I'm not able to understand who you are or what your glories are. I see you now that out of your own desire you've taken the form of a cowherd boy. Whatever reason, you chose it. Svechamayasya. Even though this is your real power, even though your real divine attributes, your Aishwarya, are far, far beyond anything, any mortal being of any kind, whether a god or a demon, could possibly hope to know even the fraction thereof. So, Neshe Mahi Tvavasitum Manasantarena. That's Brahma speaking. He's not able to conceive of the glories of Krishna, of Vishnu. Sakshat Tavaiva Kimutatma Sukhanubhutai. So, the body, I'm not able to understand the glory of the body, what to speak that it is directly yours. Sakshat Tavaiva. Sakshat Tavaiva, so this is meaning that this is Bhagavan Swayam. That we've come closer to the essence of the divine truth when we have this cowherd boy in front of us, rather than when we have glorious Vishnu, Narayan, the way that the Kumaras were able to see him. So the Kumaras, to get to see Krishna and Vrindavan, well, the other Puranas will provide it, no doubt. But as far as the Bhagavata is concerned, the Bhagavata does not give them a role in Vrindavan. Not one that immediately springs to mind anyway. So, uttatma sukhanubhute, kimutatma sukhanubhute. So you, so Tavaiva, so who are you? So he gives us one. I cannot explain this glory, right? Now in that case he was talking about the glory of all the Narayan forms, this display of Aishwarya that Krishna suddenly showed to Brahma after he'd stolen the calves and cowherds and so on. So for 1 year Krishna had played the role, and when Brahma came back he saw them all as Narayan forms, being worshipped by Lord Brahmas and by other gods and goddesses, surrounded by a celestial choir. So he saw not just one celestial choir, but he saw an infinite number of celestial choirs. He looked into the night sky with the most powerful telescope and saw where each point of light was an entire universe. Not only was each point of light an entire universe, but each one of those universes had its own Brahma, had its own, it had its own Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, it had its own Kirodakashayi Vishnu, it had its own version of all those things. The imagination of the Puranic writer went wild, and just like the wild imagination of today's scientists also goes wild to imagine life in other worlds. So, this form, however, is the Atma Sukhanubhuti. Okay? This body, this form is, now you see with a question word like Atma Sukhanubhuti. So Anubhuti means direct experience. Sukha means happiness. This is what we've been talking about here all the way through this. Jiva Goswami is being very selective in his choice of verses. We shouldn't underestimate the choices he's making with these different verses. And this, of course, is only referenced the part of Svechamayasya, but in order to understand the word Svechamayasya, you have to understand a little bit about Brahma Mohan Lila. So Svechamayasya, so he says, how can I know your human-like form whose bliss is unknown to others, though it is present directly before me? Okay, so this translation is fairly good here, so it catches a lot of the things that are permissible to add in terms of intended meaning. I cannot truly comprehend with controlled mind the glory of this divine four-handed form of yours, O Lord, which is a manifestation of your grace on me, manifest by your own will. It is certainly not a product of the material elements. Then how can I know your human-like form, whose bliss is unknown to others, though it is present directly before me? Okay, well, I think the idea this bliss beings, the actual find is here that, yes, okay, it is Atma Sukhanubhute. So it is your form, you who are the experience of the joy of the self. So here Babaji says the following. So one may then wonder why he seemed to get angry. The answer is that Bhagavan's anger is not a reaction to someone else's mood. Bhagavan is called Swechamaya, self-willed. He gets angry whenever he wills. He is the controller of his anger and not vice versa. Materialistic people are under the control of their emotions, but Bhagavan uses his emotions at his will, just as he uses his senses like his hands and feet. He is not possessed by his emotions. This is the purport of the verse recited by Lord Brahma, 10.14.2. That's the purpose of the word Swechamaya. As for the rest of the verse, we had that. Why don't we just continue on here? The idea of being self-possessed, that he is Swechamaya. The idea here is, of course, that it's all his play. That he wants to play this particular role. He wants to have this particular relationship with his devotees. He wants to play the role. Because in the playing of the role, there's an exchange of love. That's why. It's just like, it's very difficult, for instance. that, like I'm thinking of ice skating. In Canada, they have ice skating, and the Canadian ice skaters are usually quite good and quite competitive in the international ice skating world. But so you often see the doubles skating and how they have to skate together as partners. And it's impossible not to, and of course the best partners are the ones who are the most romantic. If one feels the chemistry between the two skaters, this is why often the best ones are even brothers and sisters, but of course husbands and wives. They fall in love with each other. It's quite natural. It's quite the romantic thing. It's quite the expected thing to do. Even though, oftentimes they also get divorced and so on. But at least for a time, they're playing a real life drama of love when they dance. And they're acting in complete harmony based on their oneness of spirit, driven by love. So even if it's just playing a role, it's very difficult for that role not to become realized in some way. But in the case, of course, of these demons, that was a different kind of thing. Let's move on. So Traivargika, he's quoting now from the, so that's another thing. All right? Another rationale is being given. Traivargikaya sabhigatamasmat patir vidhatte purushasya shakra. Traivargikaya sabhigatamasmat patir vidhatte purushasya shakra. Tato numeo bhagavat prasada yodurlabho kinchana gocharonye. So another verse that needs contextualization. This is Vritrasura speaking to Shakra before he offers his famous 4 golden prayers. Right? The Vritra Chatushloki. Beloved, in the 6th canto, beloved verses of the devotees. Yeah? Dasa, dasa, anudasa. Bhavitasmi bhuya, dasanudaso, bhavitasmi bhuya. I will be the servant of your servants, life after life. This. Okay? So these prayers, Vritrasura, are very powerful. So, but before he starts his 4 prayers, this is one verse he's saying, because the situation is taking place on a kind of battlefield. And he's about to have it out with Shakra. He's about to have it out with Indra. And he's going to lose this fight, and he knows it, because he knows that Vishnu has taken Indra's side. So now here's another crazy situation, right? Where the devotee of God, he has been put in the he's been put in the role of a demon. And Shakra, the professed good guy, who is being helped by God, is actually the bad guy. That Shakra, Vritrasura has become a demon because of a curse also. So he's doomed to die by the curse. But he's not afraid. And so he's going to tell Shakra, he's going to tell Indra what he thinks the lesson that was meant for him is. And the lesson that is meant for Indra himself also. Because Indra has to know that he's also subject to the same medicine. And that actually what's going on here is that even though Vritrasura is the one who is being killed, he's actually the lucky one. He's the one who's getting bhakti. He's the one who is dying in a state of God consciousness. He's the loser. But in fact, he's the winner. Very bold stuff, right? This is not a call for jihad. But in a way, it is a call for jihad. Because honest bravery should be a characteristic of a devotee in whatever walk of life he lives. Because having faith means to have that kind of bravery. Right. So, what is going on here? Traivargikayasa vighatam asmat patir vidhatte purushasya shakra. Oh Shakra, hey Indra. That asmat patihi. Asmat patihi. Our Lord, our Master, Bhagavan Narayan. Asmat patir. Traivargikayasa vighatam vidhatte. He causes a blockage to the attainment of the Purusharthas. The Traivargika ayasa. Alright? So having a vighatam in the Traivargika ayasa. So you're making all these efforts to get Dharma Artha Kama. Right? Dharma Artha Kama. You're a student, you're working very hard to learn a profession, to become a doctor or a lawyer. And then you get the job and you still have to work very, very hard because you still have to make it. And then when you make it, then you get artha. So artha, you accumulate money, you accumulate fame, you accumulate fortune. And then, that opens the door to all kinds of pleasures. And the world of pleasure awaits you. It awaits the one who has artha. Yeah? Then the days of working hard are over, or at least the hard work takes on a pleasurable luster when the light of fame and fortune and unlimited free sexual pleasure is all awarded you. When you get your little slice of worldly heaven, your palace in Nice or some other extraordinary place frequented by the rich and famous. So, Traivargika ayasam, but that's not God's mercy. God's mercy is what God's mercy is to create troubles. Well, in a way that's okay because you can understand it from another way. He causes disturbance because he wants you to learn from the disturbance, right? Disturbances are there as learning experiences. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So everything that happens to us by the God's mercy, it is all for our eternal well-being and development. That we can learn to become heroes and full human beings, loving human beings. Do you realize what it means to be a glorious human being? So Traivargikaya Sabighatam Asmat Patir. So our God works like this. He puts obstacles up in our attainment of material happiness, whether it's dharma, artha, or kama. So what for an ordinary purusha, a human being? Tato numeyo bhagavata prasada. So don't misinterpret that. That God is causing obstacles to the devotee to experience material happiness in its fullest. Now this is the kind of verse that the Marxists would hate. So tato numeyo, your poverty is actually God's blessing. Your failure is actually God's blessing. That you are not in the position of power. That you're not in the position of wealth. If you want to be a devotee, Janmaishvarya Sruta Sri Bhir Edhamanam Kuman. Naivarhatya vidhatum vai tvam akinchana gochara. Tvam akinchana gochara. Janmaishwarya, Shruta, Srivya, there's all kinds of things that increase a person's pride. So should we not have those things? No, but the pride is not helpful. You can have the pride of serving and the privilege of serving with your increased power and so on. But in actual fact, the hermit in the cave who is singing God's names all day long, something that is becoming less and less possible in today's world. But so taton meyo bhagavat prasadaha. You have to understand that this is God's mercy. That is actually that I'm the lucky one here. You're going to kill me, and all my hopes for dharma, artha, kama, and so on, they're all thrown down the toilet because my life has come to an end. However gloriously I die in pitched battle against you. And you're going to be victorious, and you're going to be freed from the dangers of the curse that was placed upon you to have this enemy who was coming to kill you. The gods are never left in peace. The demons are always coming to steal. They're constantly engaged in a fight. The black against the white. The good against the bad. The worldly drama continues on. So now this prasada here is saying, Tadanumeyo Bhagavat prasada. Now you believe that this is Bhagavat prasada. You should guess that. You should infer it. Infer it. Okay, an inference. This is a logical inference. Use your knowledge of rational power to understand how this is a greater display of God's mercy than your victory. That everything is being taken away from me so that I can surrender myself fully to God. Everything is being taken away from me so that I can surrender my heart and soul and all my being to God's lotus feet. That thing is durlabha. It's a rare thing. This is just not something that you can pick up on every corner of the street. It is not something that is just you go and you pick it in the fields. It's something that is only accessible to those who are akinchana gochara. This lovely word akinchana, so only those who have sacrificed everything get to have this mercy. That everything is taken away from them. Yasyaham anugrahnami harishe tad dhanam shanai. If I really want to give someone my mercy, then that's what I do. And we had that already, didn't we? We had that in another context not so long ago when Krishna was talking to Indra. Krishna was talking to Indra and saying that when I want to be merciful to someone, I take away his Aishwarya. I humiliate him in some way. I bring him down a notch. Everyone can see how the mighty have fallen. So when the mighty fall, you should know that that's God's mercy on them. So in a way, Vritrasura is talking indirectly to Indra as well. He's telling him, he's predicting that Indra is not getting the biggest the upside of this deal. He's actually the loser in this deal. But Indra can't stop himself. He has to play it out to the full. And Vritrasura is going to put the end to that. And where does he go from there? Well, he goes on. He says that Bhavitasmi Bhuya, Dasanu Daso Bhavitasmi Bhuya. That I'll be once again the servant of your servants. Oh, our master, O Shakra, brings ruination to his servants' efforts to attain the three goals of human life. If this happens, one can infer the grace of Bhagavan, which is impossible of attainment for any but those who have given up everything in the world, who have nothing, whose only possession is their devotion for God. That's the only thing that they cherish. Their love for God is the thing that they cherish more than anything else. And everything else, if it is not a part of the play of God's love in his life, then it becomes trivial. If one is associating with materialistic people who, for some reason, one has become tied together by virtue of family relationship, or even by marriage, or even by parenthood and so on, one's own personal integrity is compromised by falsely approving the things that contradict our true spirit of being. That doesn't mean that you don't, it's not a test for you to exercise your power of seeing God in everything and in all things and in all relationships, right? Relationships, the relationship with God. All right, so Traivargya Kayasa Vighatam Asmat Patir Vidhatte Purushasya Shakra Tatonu Meyo Bhagavat Prasado Yo Durlabho Kinchana Gocharo Nyai. So it's only accessible to the Akinchana. So people, Janmaishwarya, Shruta Sribhir, Edamana Madah Puman, Naivarhatya Vidhatum Vai, Tvam Akinchana Gocharaha. So the same word, Akinchana Gochara, is being used. So people whose sense of self related to the body, their false sense of self has been inflated by high status, by wealth, by learning, or by beauty, or by any number of things. Those are four good pillars of analysis, the way that we build up our self-worth, our sense of self-worth, by socially elevating ourselves, or being born to a family which is socially highly placed. It still counts to this day. Janma, Aishwarya, wealth, of course it counts. Shruta, knowledge, of course it counts. Shri, beauty, of course it counts. Right? So all those things, people strive for them. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, they're all intertwined with those things. So, if there is an obstacle to them, well, naturally, if you have a materialistic way of thinking about things, if you yourself are striving for those things, well, then you won't feel sympathetic, or you won't identify with the obstacles that are placed in front of them, and you won't certainly see them in a positive light. Inasmuch as we're identified, we don't see things in terms of lila. So now, in a sense, what we're this is I was having difficulty with this verse, and I'm sorry if I'm stumbling a little bit. But there's a kimuta before it. Right? Let's go back to read the introduction to that. Traivargikayasam vighatam asmat patir vidhatte purushasya shakra. So he's quoting the first part of this verse, right? That the obstacles that are placed in front of my God, my Lord places obstacles in front of his devotees when he wants to be merciful to them, right? So my God places obstacles in front of me in order so that I could come to him. So that's a kimuta. If it happened to Jaya and Vijaya, right? Because what was that before? It's a swecha maya. So that Krishna takes that Krishna is doing things by his own will. He's taking these different forms by his own will. So how much more when he's bestowing his blessing? So it happened even in the case of I'm just missing something here. Well, the spirit of the context here is that the impossibility of his becoming inimical to them because of the logical consequences of other statements that he has made. Okay? So, all right. So if God is swechamaya, and if things are going on by his will, then it is said in other cases that is a case of Krishna showing his mercy. So this is what Vritrasura said to Indra. Right? So in the case of these other cases where Jaya and Vijaya are getting this kind of obstacle placed in front of them before they can attain or reattain or return to their eternal position as doorkeepers in the spiritual world. So it's more than just a material thing. Right? So Traivargikaya asa vighatam asmat patir vidhatte purushasya shakra tato numeyo bhagavat prasado yo durlavo kinchana gocharon. So, all right. So he's saying he's going on to make even more difficult point for the materialistic person to be able to comprehend. Yeah? That in fact, the difficulties are such a good thing for our spiritual well-being that they're only accessible to somebody who is completely without any attachments to the results of his activities. That he's not actually, he may be whatever environment he swims in, that he hasn't become affected by it in such a way that he is hurt or suffers from anything that happens in it. This is what happens when you're surrendered to the Lila-shakti, when you're surrendered to the idea that God's mercy upon me is that he is doing exactly that to me, which will increase my love for him. That is the correct understanding. That the mercy of God in giving me sufferings is exactly that he makes us think of him. We ponder the question of human suffering, the impossibility of the fulfillment of desires. So, let them suffer. Let them suffer in their so-called world of enjoyment. Right. So let's move on here. Babaji says, Sri Jiva Goswami further supports this understanding by the words of Vritrasura. If Bhagavan is compassionate to his practicing devotees by causing events that ordinary materialistic person would call undesirable, then why would he not be so towards his eternal associates like Jaya and Vijaya? Well, that's kind of an interesting argument, right? If it's mercy to make something bad happen to somebody, then how much more it must count. If Krishna is being merciful, he's being good to someone, so he makes them suffer somehow. Then how much more it must count in the case of those that he loves more. This is exactly the argument in the Rasa Lila. So we see this as a principle. It's actually a principle of the Bhagavatam. That Krishna, and it comes to its apex in the Rasa Lila. This idea of separation. Separation means suffering. So the idea we're facing the issue, although it's not being faced directly right now, but the idea that suffering, so in various ways, these devotees are being caused suffering. They're playing a role that indicates a situation that in a normal circumstance, yeah, let's say I'm playing a role in a Shakespearean play, Romeo and Juliet, or Hamlet or Macbeth or any of them. And so there's some big dramatic evil that has to go on, and has to be dwelt upon, and has to be reflected upon, and punishments be given out. Deaths occur. So, so he's being merciful to the ordinary person. Normally an ordinary person doesn't get to experience things like that, right? But even so, the point was that even in ordinary circumstances, these plays and these ideas of the God's mercy is being shown through strife. That heroism is always expressed by transcending some difficulty, some obstacle. So God is so kind that he creates obstacles which even comes to the point of death. But you have to remember that the functional worldview here is that you don't die. You go on, you take another body. Death is just an interim passage. You act as a hero here and now, and you'll be rewarded for it. But the real reward is in being a hero. What kind of hero? So the qualities of the hero, this is the quality of the perfected human personality. So Bhagavan is being merciful as the, all right, it says, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam vidadhati kama. Right? So God is fulfilling the desires of the many. There is one that fulfills the desires of the many. That is the supreme kshetragya, the idea there's one God, and through that one God, one God is the central power, like the sun is the central power which radiates light and heat everywhere. So whatever is in the universe is the radiated heat and light of the sun, which is Krishna. And it is his compassion that is shining everywhere. And his compassion has degrees according to the extent to which they are covered or uncovered, as we were just seeing previously. Abhasa, the reflection of God of forgetfulness. And the reflection of forgetfulness is revealed in the idea that the love is barely covered at all, or not covered at all. Whereas in the case of Jaya and Vijaya, it was completely covered. So in the human beings that we are, now our intelligence is completely covered and forgetful of God's mercy. So he creates obstacles in our human life to the fulfillment of our desires, precisely to get us to the point of understanding that any desire other than the desire for pure bhakti to him, other than the desire for prema, is purely cheating. Dharma projita kaita votra, paramoni matsaranam satam. The Bhagavatam is about strangling, about getting rid of this false religion, of coming to the true religion of the self, right? And this has got to be understood transcending the so-called human differences. Every religion has its own set of myths and stories and teachings. What we're interested in is we're interested in a state that goes beyond. We're in a competitive world here, my friends. Religion is living in a competitive world, and the standards are very high. So, mercy, God's mercy comes to everyone, it shines equally on everyone. But we don't understand it because we don't understand that suffering is a mercy. The challenge, the obstacles that we have to face, we have to overcome them, whatever they are, however they present themselves. But whatever doesn't kill us makes us grow. That is God's mercy on us. So Sri Jiva Goswami further supports this understanding by the words of a Vritrasura. If Bhagavan is compassionate to his practicing devotees by causing events that an ordinary materialistic person would call undesirable, then why would he not be so towards his eternal associates like Jaya and Vijaya? Very interesting logic, my friends. The meaning is that he did not get angry at his doorkeepers either before or after they were born as asuras. That all this external show, he was able to execute it with complete equilibrium. He was enjoying it though. He enjoyed it by doing it appropriately, by playing the role, by letting the human lesson come through. So the meaning is that he did not get angry at his doorkeepers either before or after they were born as asuras. It was a blessing on them to have a privileged role in a pastime of fighting. The word is kotuka. Bhagavan's apparent anger was also his grace, a manifestation of his compassion, because it served to relieve them of their asuric bodies. But that's secondary. In the material world, anger is a manifestation of rajas, but Bhagavan is beyond the gunas of Prakriti. His anger is also a part of his intrinsic potency. It's part of his Lila-shakti. That is the subject. So yatha choktam. Aha. Now what's so wonderful here about this in the Priti Sandarbha, and in this, and you know, I've been taking time, so I see that I'm a bit, you know, zipping, you know, my thoughts have gone up many alleys with these different verses. I'm meditating on these different verses, which are being quoted only by their pratik. Yeah? So it's not really fair. It's like if you're looking at a collage, right? So you have a collage of paintings, or as you often see on videos, for instance, the use of a collage of several images quickly superimposed on one another to create a certain, ambiance for talking, right? But anyhow, so Jiva Goswami has intellectually gone to several places. He expects you, now what we did in the explanation of these stories, these were all things that you're supposed to know already. That's why he's only giving you the pratika. He's only giving you one thing here, in that verse over there. So you're supposed to know that verse. Here we are, we're in the Priti Sandarbha. You're supposed to know something already. And we're in the review phase, in the introduction to the Priti Sandarbha. So now Jiva Goswami is reflecting on those things that were discussed in the previous Sandarbhas. And this in particular, in this section here, it's all Bhagavat Sandarbha, and a bit from Tattva Sandarbha also. Just a second. Radhe Shyam. So here's this beautiful verse. I love this verse, and it's also important contextually, right? And this is exactly what I was just saying about obstacles, right? Tatha nate madhavata bakah kvachit brashyanti margat tvayi baddha sohridah tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya vinayakani kapamudhasu prabho tatha nate madhavatapakah kvachit brashyanti margat tvayi baddha sohridah tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya vinayakani kapamurdhasu prabho. So this is kind of a great verse. Its context is the prayers, the stava, the deva stuti. It's the second chapter of the 10th canto. It's a really great chapter, right? Like I show you about great countries in the world. Here are great verses, great chapters from the Bhagavatam. Chapter 10, chapter 2 of the 10th canto. The Deva Stuti, the prayers, the Garbha Stuti it's called. Garbha Stuti, the prayers to Krishna in the womb. So I won't go into that too much. A deeper study would be nice. But here we go. Tatha nate madhavatapakah kvachit brashyanti magat tvayi baddha sohridah tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya vinayakani kapamurdhasu prabho. O Madhava, your devotees who are bound to you in love never fall from the path like non-devotees. Protected by you, they march forward using the heads of those who cause obstacles as stepping stones for their progress. Okay, stepping stones for their progress. They use the heads of those who cause obstacles. Okay, well that could have a kind of a bloodthirsty side to it. But in a sense, it's figurative. We should take it figuratively, right? Not literally. That the powers that create obstacles are ultimately helpless before a devotee. Because it's not really they who are in charge, it's God who is in charge. So by so doing, they can take the side of truth. So therefore, it says, Your devotees who are bound to you in love, Baddha Sohridah, Na Brangsanti Margat. They are yours, Tavakah, those who have given themselves to you, Tavaivasmi, Tavaivasmi, the surrendered soul. So yours, the ones who have taken shelter of you, O Lord Madhava, they do not fall from the path because they are bound to you in love. In the previous verse, see, this is where we had natata, not in the same way. So in the same way it talks about patanti, adho yushmadangraha. Yenye ravindaksha vimukta maninas tvayasta bhavam vishuddha buddhaya aharuhya kritsrena param padam tataha patantyadho nadrita yushmadangraha te yenye ravindaksha vimukta maninas Tvayastavavam avishuddha buddhaya aharuhya krichrena param padam tata patantyado nadritya yushmadangaya. So there are some others. So this is the Devas are speaking now about the blessed the ones who fall down. So in this particular case, you have to remember, the gods are awaiting the birth of Krishna. They're looking forward to the birth of Krishna, and Krishna Lila is going to take place. So Krishna Lila means it's going to be a really good story, right? This is a story that even the gods come to observe and to watch. This is going to be a Leela. This is going to be a great story. So the gods come to watch. And they come at the very beginning like a choir singing the choir. Krishna is now in the womb. Let us glorify him. He is going to come as an avatar to serve the functions of the avatar, whatever they are. To come for truth. Satyasya satya satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapanna. Satya vratam satya vratam satya mayam. Satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapadye. So satyasya satyam harita satya netram satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye. So in all these different ways, Krishna is the truth. Satyasya satyam, satyat vratam, satyaparam trisatyam, satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye. Satyasya satyam, satyasya satyam, ritu satya netram. Satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapanana. Definitely a verse that I like to discuss, but not right now. The verse following, Ye nye ravindaksha vimukta maninas, the one that's following that's the one that we have to talk about. So Ye nye ravindaksha vimukta maninas, Tvayasta bhava abhishuddha buddhaya. Their intelligence is not pure. They don't have love for you. The constitutional position of the soul is to love God. That is the state of supreme happiness. It is called Priti. It is to come into the association to experience the perfect love. The perfect love can only be experienced with God. So if they have astabhava, if they have an inimical attitude towards you, if they hate you, if they are turned away from you, if they are bahirmukha, if they are parangmukha, then if they are bahirmukha, if they are turned away from you, astabhava, they have no feeling of love for you, avishuddha buddhayaha, they are impure in their buddhi, their intelligence is not pure, they do not see clearly. So, yenye ravindaksha, vimuktamaninaha, they think they're liberated. Vimuktamaninaha, tvayastabhava, but they have no feeling of love for you. Avishuddha buddhaya, they think they're liberated, but their intelligence is not pure. Aruhya krichrena param padam tataha pantantyato nadrita yushmadanghraya. They have ignored your lotus feet. Anadrita yushmadangrayaha. They have achieved great things in the paths of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. They have achieved the parampadam. Parampadam. Aruhya krichrena, with great effort. Life after life of effort. Work, right? The work ethic. To strive for something, not in just one lifetime, but lifetime after lifetime. The goal lies before me. How will I find the absolute, ultimate happiness? How can that be achieved by an individual human being? How can he die in grace? So, Yenye Ravindaksha, Yenye Ravindaksha, lotus-eyed one. Yenye Ravindaksha vimuktamaninas, who think that they're liberated. Tvayastabhava, they have no feeling, the feelings of affection in them are absent, like the sun after setting at night. Tvayastabhava avishuddha buddhaya, their intelligence is not pure. So there's going to be an obstacle because God's grace is to purify the intelligence. So aruhya krichrena param padam tataha. So they may raise to a very high platform of realization. Aruhya krichrena, with great effort, lifetimes of effort. Aruhya krichrena param padam tata patantyado nadrita yushmadangraya. But they have to fall down again. They are in need of purification. They are in need of more lessons. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's life. That means that one is given the blessing of life. What is life without challenge? The lifeless people are the ones who have nothing to live for, who have no challenge. So here he says, so in that one it says, patantyadho natudyu, they fall down because they ignored your lotus feet. In other words, they didn't get to the real goal of prema for Krishna's lotus feet. So now he's going to talk about the devotees, contrasting them with the devotees. So what is the characteristic of the devotees? Tatanate madhavatavakaha kuchit vrashanti margat tvai baddhaso hridah tvayabhigupta vicharanti nirbhaya vinayaka nikapa murdasu bhava. Oh Lord, Madhava, your devotees who are bound to you in love, never fall from the path. Yenye ravindaksha, those patantyadho nadritayushma, the ones who are in a false state of thinking they are liberated. They may achieve a very, very high status on the path of liberation. They may even think that they are liberated. And a great, really thinking you are liberated is not far from being liberated. So you think you're liberated, but you fall down because you missed the main point of liberation, which was to have love and reverence for Krishna's lotus feet. Well, it looks like my computer is telling me to stop. And it's running. For some reason, it's not powered. But I've gone over the 1 hour, 10-minute limit here. So just to finish that idea there, your devotees never fall from the path like the non-devotees, protected by you. They march forward, using the heads of those who cause obstacles as stepping stones for their progress. In other words, they let nothing be. In the West, we have a saying, make lemon juice if you get lemons. If life serves you a lemon, make lemon juice. Kind of a funny way of saying, if you have troubles, you have to learn from them. You have to benefit from them. You have to find what mercy of God lies hidden within it. That is the proper way to live. The proper way to live is to search for God's presence in the obstacles that face you. And then you'll find that those obstacles bring you closer to God. And actually what you find out is that God is protecting you as you face those obstacles. So therefore you're protected. Abhigupta, you're protected. You don't fall from the path of perfecting your human form of life. You're protected by Krishna. And whatever dangers, whatever obstacles arise, just like they are to be considered as blessings, it's a non-dual understanding. That which is bad and that which is good. How can you not have that duality? You can get rid of that duality by learning to see the good in the bad. So I think I'll stop there. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. I have to have a verse for the end. I promised, actually. All right, I'm going to make one more video. And that video will be the Kirtan.